Hi, my name is Dave, and I've been talking for years about this thing called community as curriculum, and lately about the idea of open learning. So I've decided to put through this extraordinarily high-tech video to try to explain it to you. Here we go. This is the model of old school learning. This is Jimmy Bob, right over here. Jimmy Bob is going to the school. Jimmy Bob has something he wants to learn. There are Jimmy Bob's friends, and there's Jimmy Bob's teacher. You can see Jimmy Bob's teacher is communing with a pile of books to come together with all the things that Jimmy Bob needs to learn. He and his friends are going to learn from all the books. They're going to go and explore the library books, and they're going to learn stuff. And when they're all done, and when Jimmy Bob leaves the school, in his shopping cart full of stuff he's learned, he's going to have some skills like reading books and some stuff that he learned inside of his shopping cart. And he's going to leave the school with it. And that's what he got. And that's not bad. Now, we have a new idea of school. Now, this idea of school is a little bit different. It does start the same. Jimmy Bob is still going to his newer school, but it's a newer school. It has a different name. At that newer school, you'll see that our teacher, our guy with the fancy haircut here, he has dropped down amongst the students, and they're all partying together. And they're surrounded by their books, and they're exploring their books together and coming up with maybe a constructed view of all that stuff all together. And when they leave that school, when Jimmy Bob leaves that school, inside of his shopping cart, he'll have those same books, he'll have those same skills, but he'll also have a bunch of networking skills. A bunch of ways of working with other people, some collaborative skills that are going to be really useful for Jimmy Bob. So that's a good way of doing school too. Now we have community as curriculum. So what does this mean? Well, it's about using everybody together. There's a couple of things that happen here. Jimmy Bob is still going to that school, but you'll see it has a fancy-dancy community as curriculum name now. See that? Now, at that school, things are going to get a little bit different here. There is our boy Jimmy Bob and Jimmy Bob's teacher and all of his friends, but they're not only surrounded by books, because now we don't only need to use books in our classes. There are people we can connect to. Before, we had to use books because we couldn't just talk to people all the time. We couldn't connect with real people all the time. So we had to talk to books. But now we can talk to real people. You can see we got some new real people here. There's some real people there, and some real people there, and still some books, because there's some of those people that we can't talk to anymore. Some of them are dead, some of them won't talk to us. But we have a whole other model of how we learn together. We learn from each other, and in some cases, each other are actually the curriculum. We learn directly from each other, and that learning together, that negotiating of all that stuff, all this stuff here, is what we call curriculum. And when we leave that school, we have a shopping cart full of people and books and skills and network skills. And funnily enough, we ourselves are in other people's shopping cart. So when we leave that school, we're leaving with an awful lot more than that old school. Now, there's one more step to take along this road. That's when you take community as curriculum and you add it up with open learning. There's Jimmy Bob, but as you can see, he is now going to the internet. I am the internet, this massive cloud here of all this fun stuff. So, Jimmy Bob gets in, and what do we see? There's our friendly teacher with his awesome haircut, and there's all of Jimmy Bob's friends, and all those people we can communicate with now, we talked about earlier, and those books that we have to talk to because it can't all be people, and all this stuff is in there. But next, where Jimmy Bob used to leave that school with his shopping cart, and at first that shopping cart was full of books and skills, and the next time that shopping cart was full of books and skills and strategies, and the next time it was full of books and skills and people. Now, when Jimmy Bob leaves that school, there's no leaving that school. Jimmy Bob stays with his network. He leaves with the network. That network stays the same. They learn from each other, and they keep learning from each other. That network stays together, it works together, and it learns together. How was that?